Hello and welcome to Understanding Narcissists. Thank you so much for joining me. In this episode, I want to talk about something that I probably go on too much about, but every time I revisit it again, I feel like it's something that is really important, especially to people who are in kind of hot water and don't know what's going on. And this is just something that really, really helps time and time again in understanding what a narcissist does and solidly forming in your mind that everything they do is a trick to sort of divert your attention so they can get closer to you and engage you and ensnare you. Even when, frankly, you're already ensnared, when they just want more and more, how to bypass your guard further and further, especially when you start to get more defensive and you start to understand what's going on, then they just make a game of it. A dysfunctional, anxiety-ridden game, but a game of it nonetheless. Try to get by you, to trick you, to fool you, to get you back under their control. And it's really the magnetism that represents how badly they really need you or are dependent upon you. How they simply cannot get around without having some kind of engagement with you, some kind of interaction, some kind of exchange. And the most obvious sign, though it takes a while to first notice it, is how they're always coming at you. There's always a reason to interact with you. And it's usually a bad one. Like they're not coming over to you to commend you on something or adore you or admire you or anything. It's really some kind of negative interaction, especially when they're feeling insecure, which is when they're going to do this most, when they're going to seek you out. And this kind of magnetic attraction, I don't like saying magnetic attraction because it sounds like it's positive somehow, and it's really not. It's not that they just can't stay away from you. It's a bad reason why they keep stalking you and hunting you down. But they have these things in place that require you to continue to engage with them, that give them a reason to engage you and require you to get back to them and engage with them further. So it just creates this whole kind of arc. It's a plot. A practical example might be in order. It might help you understand this further. I knew a narcissist who would, when I was retreating to the yard to enjoy the day or something, this person would decide that it was time to mow the lawn, and on a 5-acre property, seek me out on the lawnmower. And I'm not saying they threatened me directly, though there is a threatening thing about it, and lawnmowers are dangerous, but would actually, on a 5-acre property, find it necessary to mow the part where I was far out away from the house so they could have an interaction, an engagement with me, and then something might happen. You see what I'm saying? To bother me, to disrupt me with the riding lawnmower. That kind of thing is sort of the bread and butter everyday experience when you live with a narcissist. Phone calls are a good one. Get back to me. Some kind of conversation going back and forth that necessitates repeated interactions with them, that makes it legitimate and somehow, perfectly reasonable. It's what you'd expect. It's what you would anticipate. And yet when you look at the whole thing, it really doesn't make any sense except that you're supposed to be talking to them a lot, and they're usually talking at you and talking, and you're nodding your head and saying, yes, right, and then they kind of poke and prod and figure out. That kind of stuff is so much a fabric of the entire experience, you forget that it's there. When you live around controlling people for a long period of time, or you grow up in it, it seems strange when you get into an environment where people aren't doing that anymore, and the interactions are, if not healthier, completely different. It's not totally unique to narcissists, that experience, However, it's unique to controlling people, and narcissists are kind of the epitome of controlling people. And so that's when you get really saturated in it, immersed to the point where you don't know any different. And once you're at that point, but you're able to realize it, that does begin the sort of unfolding that takes place when you start to break away from a narcissist, because then you realize everything has a purpose, and a distinct and express purpose aside from what they're saying, and that just starts to kind of unfurl the bad stuff about them that you rather turn a blind eye to, because it really definitively illustrates the situation you're in. And so you have to have that realization of the situation and yourself and them and then yourself. I don't think I could talk enough about how instrumental you are in the entire abuse process. Not that you're responsible for it, but yet you're the only one who can stop it. That you're the only one who can realize it and change and adapt and make things better. It helps when you begin to think of every exchange or interaction as not where they're trying to just abuse you or tell you what to do to exert their power. They're trying to get some kind of validation from you. They're trying to get some kind of direction from you, some kind of input, oftentimes. Because the illusion portrays it to you and everyone else that you're the reactive one, you're the one in need of help, you're the one who can't make a stand, can't make any decisions for yourself, when in fact it is the narcissist who completely relies upon you, completely relies upon your instinct and your wisdom and your decision-making skills, your emotional support of them, this validation of them. You're making them legitimate, real people even, is as absurd as it sounds. It's even more absurd and surprising when you realize that's reality. When it finally clicks in your mind of what's happening and how everything is for that purpose of trying to legitimize them, make them real people even. That's the best way to understand it. That's the best way to understand narcissists. And arguably, that's the best way that they understand it too. They'll never say it, but they sure know how to do it. They sure are good at it. And resting on that entire foundation is you not realizing it. You believing through thick and thin that is not the case, that they are dependent on you, that you are the one in charge, and you are the one with the clout in the relationship, the friendship, or whatever. And also, believe it or not, that is kind of the stock, the energy you need to escape and recover. That is actually one thing I really start with in the first step of recovery, because once you understand that environment for what it is and all the pain that it encompasses, that's when you're ready to get out of it. And more importantly, not get out of it physically, but mentally, where you're out of it. I see too many people who get away from that kind of thing and get halfway, or not even halfway, through their recovery. And they end up in the same situation again. And they may know it, but it just starts a string of destructive habits and serial relationships that cost them immensely in their own lives and the people around them, the people around the victim, the enabler. And that's something I've had to learn more and more the hard way myself, but also have to witness it in other people. It is not so simple as getting away. And even when you find the strength to get away and you know they're bad, that's not enough either. You have to go a little bit deeper And as painful as it is, it does assure that you will be free of pain in the future, because you do get stronger from that entire experience. It's really hard to sell people on that, but I found it to be the case again and again. And since recovery is going to be coming up, that's my focus. I'm going to bring that to the surface with a whole slew of videos. I just want to kind of prep you for that that experience and that understanding, because even if you're not the prime candidate for recovery, say where you're stuck in a relationship and you need to get out and then you need to recover, or you've just gotten out and you need to recover, it helps to know it throughout all the stages, any stage you could be at. It's good to know all of that material, and it's good to return to it over the course of your life. So I hope you like this video. Like it if you do. Share it with somebody you think might benefit from it. Comment in the comment section below about your experience with interactions with a narcissist and the complete dynamic, the daily behavior of how they interact, and just how much they actually depend on you. It is kind of this magnetic draw. It's like a stream that is inevitably going to end up at the lowest possible elevation, but the path it takes, that's what we're talking about, the variation in the path and the terrain that's going to get to that, and what path they take, how they get there, what are all the little zigs and zags and ways that they try to manipulate you and necessitate this interaction and dysfunctional exchange. Share that in the comment section below. I'd really like to see what your experiences are and what you think about it, how you've reflected on it and learned from it and applied what you've learned to your own life to improve yourself. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.